As the whole world gets ready for the upcoming changes to Pi Coin, and as many people eagerly await something extraordinary, Pi Network has made a very important announcement for pioneers. And this could answer many of the questions you've been asking about Pi Network. Right now, you might be asking yourself, why am I losing money on Pi Network at this time? You might also be wondering, why did my Pi suddenly disappear without warning? And now, you probably want to know the reason why the price of Pi dropped from 67 cents to 40 cents in just a few days. If you answered yes to any of these questions, then you are in exactly the right place. I'm about to reveal the shocking truth that the whales don't want you to know about Pi Network's recent chaos. At this moment, I will answer your 3 most pressing questions. First, why is Pi Network forcing users in China to watch a mandatory video before they can access their accounts? Second, what's really behind the massive technical failures that are making users lose their Pi balances? And third, how are crypto whales using this chaos to manipulate the market and steal money from regular users like you and me? But here's the thing, most people have no idea. But here's something that might surprise you. What if I told you that this entire situation might actually be setting up the biggest Pi Network pump we've ever seen? Stay with me. What I'm about to reveal will show you exactly how to position yourself at the center of the next generation of blockchain infrastructure and how you can protect yourself from the whales who are trying to trick you right now. Let's now take my time. Greetings and welcoming every pioneer to the channel. Whether you're joining us from the vibrant streets of Africa, the digital revolution of South America, the innovative landscapes of North America, or anywhere else on this beautiful planet, this message is specifically for you. Before we dive deep into this groundbreaking development, I want you to show your pioneer pride right now. You can join our community by smash subscribe button and ring notification bell because I'm constantly bringing you the most important Pi Network developments and opportunities that you absolutely cannot afford to miss. Also, drop comments saying Pi Network to the moon along with your country name and flag for seeing our incredible global community unite in the comments section. I'm Nathan, and in today's video, let's start with something really strange that's happening right now. If you're a Pi Network user in China, you probably noticed something absolutely shocking when you tried to log in recently. You were forced to watch a mandatory security video before you could access your account. You couldn't skip it. You couldn't close it. You couldn't even minimize it. You had to sit there and watch the entire thing from start to finish. But here's what's really interesting. This isn't just any ordinary video. This video warns users about 3 very specific things. First, there might be significant delays during the upcoming migration process, and you need to be extremely patient. Second, if you engage in any illegal activities using Pi Network, you could face serious security threats and legal problems. Third, you need to be very careful about scams and fraudulent schemes targeting Pi users. Now, you might be wondering, why is this only happening in China? Why aren't users in other countries seeing this video? Here's the truth that most people don't know. Pi Network's core team doesn't have any official representatives or legal entities registered in China. So they created this mandatory video message to protect themselves legally and to comply with Chinese regulations. But think about this for a moment. Why would Pi Network suddenly feel the urgent need to warn users about illegal activities and security threats? What do they know that we don't know? What kind of activities are they expecting that would require such serious warnings? Could this be a sign that something massive is about to happen? Something that might attract the attention of regulators and law enforcement? And here's another question that nobody is asking. Why now? Pi Network has been operating for years without this kind of warning. What changed? What new information do they have that made them decide to implement this mandatory security briefing? Some people think this is just a simple safety measure, but I believe there's much more to this story. In fact, I think this video is actually a preparation for something huge that's coming. And when you hear what I'm about to reveal in the next section, you'll understand exactly why I think this way. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. Pi Network version 1.40 has been an absolute catastrophe. And I'm not being dramatic here. This update has caused more problems than any previous Pi network release in history. Users all over the world are reporting serious issues that are making people panic and lose faith in the entire project. First, two-factor authentication is completely broken. This means users can't access their accounts even when they enter the correct verification codes. Imagine having thousands of Pi coins that you've been mining for 3 years and suddenly being completely locked out of your account. That's exactly what's happening to thousands of people right now. They're entering their passwords correctly, they're getting the authentication codes on their phones, but the system just won't let them in. Second, Pi balances are mysteriously disappearing without any explanation. Users are logging in and seeing 0 Pi in their wallets. Years of daily mining gone, just like that. No warning, no explanation, no customer support response. Can you imagine how devastating this must be for these people? They dedicated years of their lives to this project, mining every single day, and now their balances show absolutely nothing. Third, new users can't even install the updated version properly. The app keeps crashing during installation, or it downloads but won't open. Some users report that the app opens but immediately closes when they try to log in. This means Pi network is losing potential new users every single day. People who might have become dedicated miners are giving up before they even start. Fourth, existing users who successfully installed the update are experiencing constant app crashes. The app freezes during mining, crashes when they try to check their balance, and sometimes just randomly shuts down for no apparent reason. But here's what's really shocking. Pi network's overall performance metrics have dropped dramatically. In the last 30 days, performance is down 33%. In the last 7 days, it's down 6.7%. In the last 24 hours, it's down 5.2%. These aren't small glitches. This is a massive system-wide failure that's affecting millions of users worldwide. And here's the part that really makes me suspicious. Pi network's official support team has been almost completely silent about these issues. They're not providing regular updates, they're not giving estimated fix times, and they're barely even acknowledging that these problems exist. For a project that usually communicates regularly with its community, this silence is extremely unusual and concerning. But wait, there's something even more interesting happening behind the scenes. And this is where the whale manipulation story really begins to make sense. Let's talk about money, because this is where the real story gets absolutely fascinating. Pi network's price has been on the wildest rollercoaster ride I've ever seen in cryptocurrency. It was trading strong and steady around 64 to 67 cents for weeks. People were feeling confident. Long-term holders were finally seeing good returns on their patience. New investors were jumping in because of the positive momentum. Then suddenly, without any major negative news about the project itself, the price crashed violently to 40 cents. That's not just a small correction. That's a massive 30 to 40% drop that wiped out millions of dollars in value and destroyed the confidence of thousands of retail investors. Now, Pi network supporters and the official community moderators are blaming this crash entirely on the conflict between Israel and Iran. They're saying that global instability always makes cryptocurrency prices fall. And yes, that's partially true. When there's war, political uncertainty, or major economic problems, people do tend to sell their risky investments like cryptocurrencies and move their money into safer assets like gold or government bonds. But here's what they're absolutely not telling you, and this is the part that makes me really angry. This explanation is only half the story. The real story is much more sinister and involves deliberate market manipulation by wealthy investors who know exactly how to exploit these situations. Let me explain exactly how this manipulation game works, because once you understand it, you'll never look at cryptocurrency price movements the same way again. When regular retail investors like you and me see global conflict on the news, we get scared. Our natural human instinct is to protect our money, so we panic and sell our cryptocurrency investments at whatever price we can get. We're not thinking strategically, we're just reacting emotionally to scary news. But the whales, the wealthy investors who control millions of dollars, They think completely differently. They know that scared retail investors will sell their coins cheap during crisis periods. So they actually wait for moments exactly like this to make their biggest purchases. They're not scared of the news, they're excited by it because they know it creates buying opportunities. For example, when Pi dropped from 63 cents to 47 cents, smart money investors bought absolutely massive amounts. They might have purchased millions of Pi coins at these discounted prices. Then, when the panic selling stopped and the price naturally recovered, they sold portions of their holdings for huge profits. This is exactly how the rich get richer in cryptocurrency markets. But here's the really disturbing part. Some of these whale investors don't just wait for natural market crashes. They actually help create the conditions that cause retail investors to panic. They spread negative news, they coordinate selling pressure at key technical levels, and they use their influence to make bad situations seem even worse than they really are. And the most frustrating part is that the average Pi network user is the perfect target for this kind of manipulation. Most Pi miners are not experienced cryptocurrency traders. They don't understand market psychology, technical analysis, or whale behavior patterns. They don't know how to recognize manipulation when they see it. But here's where this story gets really exciting. What if I told you that all this chaos might actually be setting up the biggest opportunity in Pi Network's history? Think about this. Pi Network's circulating supply has been stuck at 7.44 million for days. This could be because of the situation in China, or it could be because of the technical problems we talked about earlier. But here's what's interesting. When supply is limited and demand starts to increase, prices go up fast. Really fast. And there's something else that most people are ignoring. The .pi domain auction date is ending soon. This is a huge milestone for Pi Network, and historically, major milestones in crypto projects lead to price increases. Some experts believe that by June 28th, we might see a massive price spike. Now, I can't promise this will happen, and you should never invest more than you can afford to lose, but the setup is definitely interesting. Here's what smart investors are doing right now. Instead of panicking about the technical problems and price drops, they're looking at this as a buying opportunity. They're dollar cost averaging into Pi Network while prices are low. But remember, this is exactly what the whales want you to think. They want you to buy when they're ready to sell. So, you need to be really careful and do your own research. So how do you protect yourself from whale manipulation? How do you avoid getting tricked like so many other Pi Network users? First, never make investment decisions based on emotions. When you see the price crashing, your brain will tell you to sell everything. When you see the price pumping, your brain will tell you to buy more. This is exactly the opposite of what you should do. Second, understand that technical problems are temporary, but good projects survive. Yes, Pi Network is having serious issues right now, but if the project has real value, these problems will be fixed eventually. Third, only invest money that you can afford to lose completely. I can't stress this enough. Crypto is extremely risky, and Pi Network is still an experimental project. Don't put your rent money or your children's education fund into any cryptocurrency. Fourth, learn to recognize whale manipulation patterns. When you see massive price drops followed by positive news, that's often a sign that whales are accumulating. When you see massive price increases followed by negative news, that's often a sign that whales are selling. Fifth, diversify your investments. Don't put all your money into Pi Network or any single cryptocurrency. Spread your risk across different assets and different investment types. But here's the most important advice I can give you. Do your own research. Don't trust YouTubers, including me. Don't trust social media influencers. Don't trust random people in Telegram groups. Study the project yourself, understand the technology, and make your own decisions. Now let me share with you what I think is really happening behind the scenes at Pi Network. The mandatory video in China isn't just about legal protection. It's about preparing users for something big. When companies start warning users about delays and security issues, it usually means they're about to make major changes. The technical problems with version 1.4.0 aren't just random bugs. They're growing pains that happen when a project is scaling up rapidly. Think about it. If Pi Network wasn't planning something significant, why would they push out an update that affects millions of users? The price manipulation we're seeing isn't just about the Israel-Iran conflict. It's about smart money positioning themselves before a major announcement or milestone. Here's what I think is going to happen in the next few months. Pi Network will fix the technical issues, probably with version 1.41 or 1.50. The China situation will stabilize as the project gets proper legal representation there, and the .pi domain auction will create massive buzz and media attention. When all these things come together, we could see a perfect storm for Pi Network's price. But remember, this is just my opinion based on the patterns I'm seeing. I could be completely wrong, and you should never make investment decisions based on speculation. Let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Pi Network is trying to do something that no other cryptocurrency has ever done successfully. They want to create a digital currency that regular people can use in their daily lives. Bitcoin is too expensive and complicated for most people. Ethereum has high transaction fees that make small purchases impossible. Even newer projects like Solana and Cardano are still too technical for the average person. But Pi Network is different. They're building a user-friendly ecosystem that your grandmother could use to buy groceries or pay for a coffee. That's incredibly ambitious, and it's also incredibly difficult. The problems we're seeing right now are part of this process. You can't build something revolutionary without breaking a few things along the way. The question is whether Pi Network can fix these problems fast enough to maintain user confidence. And that's where the whales come in. They understand that if Pi Network succeeds in creating a mainstream cryptocurrency, the early investors will make enormous profits. But they also know that most regular users will panic and sell during the difficult periods. So they're using every piece of bad news, every technical problem, and every price drop to accumulate more Pi at lower prices. It's a calculated strategy that has worked in every other successful cryptocurrency project. The question is, are you going to let them trick you, or are you going to think like a whale yourself? Let me share with you some real stories from Pi Network users who are dealing with these issues right now. Sarah from the United States told me that her Pi balance disappeared 3 days ago. She had been mining for over 2 years and had accumulated more than 5,000 Pi coins. When she logged in after the 1.40 update, her wallet showed 0. She contacted support but hasn't received any response yet. Chen from China said that the mandatory video made him really worried. He's been a Pi Network supporter since the beginning, but now he's wondering if the project is in legal trouble. The video mentioned security threats and illegal activities, which made him think that maybe Pi Network isn't as safe as he thought. Mohammed from Egypt reported that he can't access the app at all since the update. Every time he tries to log in, the app crashes. He's tried uninstalling and reinstalling multiple times, but nothing works. He's frustrated because he was mining every day for 3 years. But here's what's interesting. I also heard from some users who are having a completely different experience. David from Germany told me that his Pi balance is still there and the app is working perfectly for him. He thinks the problems are being exaggerated by people who want to manipulate the price. Maria from Brazil said that she bought more Pi when the price dropped to 40 cents. She believes that the technical problems are temporary and she wants to accumulate more before the price goes back up. These different experiences show us that the situation is more complex than it appears. Some users are having serious problems, while others are doing fine. This inconsistency could be part of the whale manipulation strategy, or it could just be normal growing pains for a project of this size. So, what's the bottom line? Pi Network is going through a difficult period right now. There are real technical problems that are affecting real users. The price has dropped significantly, and there's uncertainty about the future. But here's what I want you to remember. Every successful cryptocurrency project has gone through periods like this. Bitcoin crashed multiple times before it reached $60,000. Ethereum had major technical issues that took years to resolve. Even newer projects like Binance Coin and Solana had serious problems in their early days. The key is to separate the temporary problems from the long-term potential. If you believe that Pi Network can achieve its goal of creating a mainstream cryptocurrency, then the current problems are just bumps in the road. If you don't believe in the project's long-term vision, then maybe it's time to reconsider your investment. But whatever you decide, don't let the whales trick you into making emotional decisions. They want you to panic when prices are low and get excited when prices are high. They want you to buy their bags at the top and sell your bags at the bottom. Be smarter than that. Do your research, understand the risks, and make decisions based on logic, not emotions. Remember, I'm not giving you financial advice. I'm just sharing information and my personal opinions. You should always consult with a qualified financial advisor before making any investment decisions. If this video helped you understand what's really happening with Pi Network, please hit that like button. Your support means everything to me and helps me create more content like this. And don't forget to write Pi Network to the moon in the comments along with your country name and flag. I love seeing where my viewers are from, and it helps build our amazing Pi Network community. Subscribe to my channel if you want to stay updated on the latest Pi Network news and analysis. I post new videos every week with insider information and expert insights that you won't find anywhere else. Share this video with your friends and family who are involved in Pi Network. They need to know the truth about what's happening and how to protect themselves from whale manipulation. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, stay safe, stay informed, and remember that the whales are always watching. Don't let them trick you.